Did you know that the very person who once looked down on you, laughed at your struggles, and dismissed your worth, is the one who will ultimately unravel before your eyes without you lifting a finger? And you, the witness to their downfall, will stand untouched, unshakable, and more powerful than ever. This isn't just a story. This is a truth that will challenge how you see power, pride, and endurance. Let's be honest, arrogance never lasts. No amount of noise, no flash of bravado, no borrowed applause can build something that endures. Those who strut through life thinking their loudness equates to strength are walking on a fragile stage built on illusions and the temporary approval of others. Meanwhile, true strength, the kind that whispers quietly but carries weight in every corner of the world, is born in the shadows of challenge, in the crucible of trials, and in the silent victories no one applauds. That is where you, the chosen one, reside. That is where your power has always been, patiently growing, quietly shaping you into someone the universe itself cannot ignore. Today's message isn't merely about watching someone arrogant stumble, it's about recognizing your own invincible power and understanding the universal truth that what you endure in silence becomes your armor, and what others wield as weapons against you becomes their undoing. This story is not only a cautionary tale about the fall of pride, it is a blueprint for how endurance, patience, and inner integrity always outlast spectacle, mockery, and fleeting dominance. Picture it: every scoff, every insult, every whispered joke intended to diminish you is a stone they cast into a mirror, and the reflection it reveals more about their insecurity than your weakness. They try to shape your image, to write your story. But the cosmos has already inscribed your resilience into the ledger of truth. You are not just surviving, you are defining what strength looks like, and every misstep of the arrogant one only illuminates your quiet, unwavering power. And here's the twist: you are not an active participant in their collapse. You don't need to retaliate, argue, or justify yourself. Simply standing, holding your dignity, and continuing to rise transforms the landscape around you. It flips the narrative, turning their pride into public spectacle, their mockery into a lesson, and their temporary applause into echoes of irony. You are the witness, you are the benchmark, and their unraveling will remind everyone, including themselves, that true influence cannot be faked, borrowed, or borrowed from applause. It is earned, endured, and immortalized in silence. So lean in, because what you are about to see is both thrilling and revealing. This isn't just about the downfall of one arrogant individual, it's about unveiling a truth for every chosen one watching. The world may test, mock, or dismiss you, but your inner power is permanent, and your legacy is quietly, steadily being built. Every laugh they provoke at your expense only strengthens the foundation of your unshakable presence. You are about to witness the law of life in action. Pride comes first, but endurance always wins. Let's delve deeper into the mechanics of arrogance and why it never lasts. On the surface, arrogance wears a mask of confidence, struts through life with exaggerated gestures, and demands attention as though loudness equals power. But the reality is far more revealing. The louder they boast, the more fragile their foundation becomes. Every sneer, every dismissive laugh, every attempt to belittle someone else is a signal of inner insecurity. Their confidence is borrowed from applause, from flattery, from the temporary admiration of others, and like any borrowed thing, it has a shelf life. When life tests them beyond the applause, when the crowd stops clapping or the mirror reflects truth back, the facade begins to crack. Contrast that with true confidence. It is quiet, earned, and immutable. It grows in the crucible of experience, in the long nights of struggle, in the battles fought where no one is watching. It is forged through endurance, patience, and a relentless commitment to personal integrity. True confidence does not need validation. It does not tremble under scrutiny. It survives in isolation, thrives in adversity, and outlasts every temporary spotlight that arrogance depends on. Where arrogance shouts, true strength whispers, and that whisper carries a weight the world cannot ignore. Consider the ones who have tried to mock you, to make you small, to diminish your presence. The very act of attempting to tear you down exposes their limitations. Their laughter and their words are hollow because they come from a place of deficiency, not mastery. In mocking you, they reveal their lack of depth, their fear of being exposed, their desperation for control. Meanwhile, your response or lack thereof becomes a quiet testament to your strength. By standing firm, by enduring in silence, you establish a benchmark. You show the world what resilience looks like, and every attempt to undermine you only reinforces your stature. Mockery in particular is a weapon that always boomerangs. Those who wield it against you often do so believing it will injure, intimidate, or diminish you. Yet the universe has a way of flipping the script. Their words meant to weaken you return to reveal their vulnerabilities. The sneers and insults that once seemed powerful transform into the proof of their insecurity. The social currency they tried to wield evaporates, leaving only laughter, irony, and exposure. They become the spectacle. They become the meme. They become a cautionary tale whispered in private conversations. Meanwhile, you, the one who bore the brunt of their arrogance, emerge as the standard, the reference point for endurance and integrity. Here's an example you might recognize. Someone mocks your careful planning, your calm approach, or your steadfast commitment. In the moment, it stings. You feel the weight of their dismissal, the pressure of being underestimated. But as days turn into weeks and weeks into months, the truth becomes evident. The mocking person, reliant on temporary admiration and performance, begins to falter when the stakes demand substance. Their confidence inflated but hollow cannot endure scrutiny. You, however, who have faced real challenges, built real skills, and held true to your values, continue to rise. The irony is palpable. Their attempt to diminish you only illuminates the depth of your endurance. This contrast between borrowed arrogance and earned resilience is not just a lesson in social dynamics. It is a blueprint for power. It teaches you where to place your energy, how to cultivate patience, and why the quiet victories matter more than fleeting applause. Every time someone tries to undermine you, remember it is their facade being revealed, not your weakness. And the best part, you don't need to fight. You don't need to respond in kind. Your survival, your composure, your unwavering presence is louder than any insult. It speaks volumes about who you are, and it cements your place as a chosen one, the one who stands while the others crumble. By understanding this dynamic, you begin to see life differently. You recognize the impermanence of superficial power and the enduring strength of quiet, authentic mastery. You learn to smile at arrogance, knowing that it cannot touch the substance of your being. And in doing so, you experience a deep sense of satisfaction, confidence, and even hallowed joy. Because you understand that endurance always wins and mockery always boomerangs. Now let's step into the story itself, the mechanics of how arrogance inevitably collapses and why witnessing it is both enlightening and oddly satisfying. Imagine a person who struts through life projecting a borrowed confidence. They parade their accomplishments, real or imagined, and thrive on the temporary applause of others. But here's the key truth: when confidence is borrowed, it cannot endure solitude or scrutiny. Take away the audience and the house of cards begins to wobble. That grandiose performance built on flattery, attention, and social validation has no foundation. Once the borrowed applause fades, so does their facade, and you, the quietly steadfast chosen one, remain unshaken, watching as the hollow confidence falters. Short-term mockery is another tool of the arrogant, an attempt to intimidate, diminish, or ridicule. Yet, like fireworks in the sky, it dazzles briefly, then disappears. The laughter once intended to wound quickly fades into the background, leaving behind the stark evidence of their fragility. Mockery has a limited shelf life. It cannot mask the absence of depth or the lack of genuine skill, and just as easily as it arises, it boomerangs, revealing the mocker's weaknesses more clearly than any words could. Their insults, their sneers, their sarcastic applause at your expense become testimony not of your weakness but of their own insecurity. The stage that arrogance constructs is perhaps the cruelest trap of all. Every public display, every grand gesture, every ostentatious attempt to dominate a space is magnified for all to see. A misstep, a falter, a small crack in that performance becomes visible under the spotlight they craved. What was meant to project invincibility instead exposes vulnerability. It's as if they're walking around with spinach in their teeth while bragging about being the sharpest dresser in the room. Everyone sees the problem except them. The stage which once served as their throne becomes their gallows. And the audience quietly at first, then with growing intensity begins to notice. The narrative flips. They are no longer the idol. They are the spectacle. Arrogance has an expiration date. Just as trends fade, so does borrowed power. The crowd that once cheered now recoils. The temporary idol, so confident in their momentary dominance, becomes the object of ridicule. Their popularity was rented, not earned, and rent always comes due. Meanwhile, you, the chosen one, have been earning your strength in silence. Every trial you endured, every insult you brushed off, every quiet victory built a foundation that cannot be shaken. You have become the reference point. Where their light flickered, yours burns steadily. Where their influence was fragile, yours is resilient. Let's add a touch of levity to drive the point home. Picture the arrogant figure trying to impress at a gathering, overestimating their charm, exaggerating their wisdom, while everyone else notices the absurdity of it all. Perhaps they misquote a fact, fumble a gesture, or reveal a misunderstanding. And suddenly the room sees the incongruence between the image they projected and the reality of their knowledge. The humor is undeniable, and yet it serves a purpose. It teaches, it instructs, and it reminds you that spectacle without substance is always fleeting. It is entertaining, yes, but it is also instructive. This dynamic is not limited to distant stories or celebrity gossip. You see it at work, in offices, in family gatherings, within social circles, and even in neighborhoods. The overconfident colleague, the braggart relative, the flashy neighbor, they all exhibit the same patterns. You can spot it because the arrogance cannot withstand silence, cannot endure scrutiny, and eventually becomes its own undoing. Meanwhile, the person who acts with integrity, patience, and quiet strength, the one who does not need to dominate a conversation or command attention, emerges as the true standard, the enduring reference point. Through all this, there's a deeper lesson for you as a chosen one. The strategies of arrogance are obvious in retrospect. They rely on borrowed validation, superficial mockery, and illusory power. By contrast, resilience is slow, deliberate, and invisible until it is undeniable. Your endurance does not need performance noise or spectacle. It simply exists, and it speaks for itself. While the arrogant stumble under the weight of their own act, you remain the living proof that true strength is quiet, unwavering, and immortal. The takeaway: observe, reflect, and recognize the patterns. Laugh quietly at the predictable outcomes of hollow pride. Use these lessons to reinforce your own journey, knowing that what is fleeting cannot touch what is earned. And most importantly, let your calm, steadfast presence become the benchmark others measure themselves against. Every misstep of the arrogant becomes a mirror that reflects your endurance, and every fleeting applause they once enjoyed becomes a reminder that lasting influence is built in silence, not spectacle. Now let's bring this lesson closer to home to you, the chosen one. The story of the arrogant figure is not merely a spectacle to watch. It is a mirror reflecting truths about power, influence, and resilience that apply directly to your life. While they relied on borrowed confidence, superficial applause, and fleeting recognition, your strength comes from endurance, experience, and an unwavering commitment to your inner values. You see, endurance always outlasts arrogance, and quiet mastery always eclipses temporary spectacle. This is the principle you can embed into every choice you make and every space you occupy. The first lesson is deceptively simple. Hold your inner qualities and principles above the validation of others. Too often, we look for applause, affirmation, or social proof to measure our worth. The arrogant chase these illusions, believing recognition equates to value. You, however, understand that your worth is measured in the quiet moments where no one is watching: the integrity you maintain, the patience you cultivate, the consistent effort you invest in yourself. That is your true authority. By keeping your center intact, you create a magnetic field that draws respect naturally. Not because you demanded it, but because it is earned silently and consistently. Second, endure trials in silence. Life will test you repeatedly, and not everyone will witness your victories. Some may even attempt to undermine you, to distract or discourage, yet every trial you face in quiet fortifies your credibility. Your community, whether family, friends, or fellow chosen ones, sees the pattern of your resilience over time. Your reputation grows not from noise, but from reliability under pressure. You are proving that your strength is not performative, it is enduring. Each challenge you navigate without flinching is a brick in the foundation of a legacy that cannot be erased by gossip, envy, or superficial admiration. Third, allow others to reveal their own character. You do not need to defend your worth, prove your competence, or retaliate against those who attempt to belittle you. Standing firm, living authentically, and moving forward quietly forces others to confront their own insecurities and exposes their strategies without you having to intervene. The arrogant create their own spectacle. You create a standard. Your quiet presence becomes the benchmark against which all actions, words, and intentions are measured. By remaining composed, you convert the attempts of others to undermine you into mirrors that reflect their limitations, not yours. Fourth, leverage your experiences to build a community. Each challenge, betrayal, and obstacle you faced is not only a test, but also a tool to guide, inspire, and elevate others. Share your lessons strategically, whether through storytelling, mentorship, or content creation, so that those who follow you recognize the blueprint of resilience. People remember authenticity, consistency, and earned authority. By demonstrating how to withstand trials, maintain composure, and act with integrity, you cultivate a network of chosen ones who are themselves becoming reference points for others. Your story becomes a living curriculum in endurance, leadership, and self-mastery. Fifth, consider the content you create as evergreen wisdom. Lessons distilled from your lived experience, especially those rooted in resilience, endurance, and personal integrity, carry relevance across time. Unlike fleeting trends or viral spectacles, this kind of content resonates deeply, builds trust, and encourages repeated engagement. Your insights, shared as video articles or posts, remain meaningful because they are not tied to superficiality. They reflect enduring truths. The chosen and rising audience recognizes this depth, and your content can act as a continual guide for those navigating their own paths of growth and self-realization. Think of real-life examples within the chosen and rising community. There are those who may not dominate meetings, post constantly on social media, or seek public recognition. Yet quietly, they demonstrate unwavering integrity, patience, and reliability. Their actions ripple through their circles, and they become touchstones of credibility and strength. Over time, their presence shapes norms, influences decisions, and inspires behavior not by spectacle but by example. You too can become this reference point. The world may not cheer loudly for your quiet victories, but those who understand will see the depth of your power and the permanence of your influence. By applying these lessons, you transform the narrative of your life. You shift from reacting to the temporary theatrics of others to cultivating an inner authority that is enduring, respected, and unshakable. Your resilience becomes a guidepost for your peers, and your composure under pressure becomes a model for emerging chosen ones. In this way, the principles of endurance, patience, and inner mastery do not remain abstract. They are applied, lived, and witnessed, establishing a lasting legacy of influence that no borrowed applause or hollow arrogance can touch. Remember, your power is quiet. Your influence is subtle but undeniable, and your legacy is built in silence, not spectacle. Every lesson you've absorbed, every trial you've endured, and every demonstration of steadfastness contributes to a community that recognizes the true meaning of strength. In learning to stand unshakable, you are not just surviving, you are teaching, guiding, and shaping the standard for everyone who comes after you. As we draw this journey to a close, take a moment to let it sink in. You have endured. You have persisted. You have become a standard, a benchmark, a quiet force that others cannot ignore. Every trial you've faced, every wound endured, every word meant to diminish you, these were not obstacles but instruments forging the inner power that no applause or fleeting recognition could ever create. You are living proof that resilience, integrity, and quiet mastery are the true currencies of lasting influence. Here lies the core lesson: you do not need validation from the world to define your worth. While arrogance seeks applause and temporary attention, true strength does not clamor for recognition. It is built silently in moments unseen through choices anchored in principle and values. Your actions, grounded in patience, endurance, and authenticity, speak louder than the loudest boast or the most dramatic display of pride. Every storm you survived has added to your authority. Every challenge you overcame has increased your influence, and every act of composure under pressure has set you apart as a chosen one. Consider the law of endurance. Survival and quiet strength will always outlast noise, arrogance, and borrowed authority. Those who attempted to undermine you, mock you, or elevate themselves at your expense will find their triumphs fleeting, their influence temporary, their spectacle meaningless in the long view. Meanwhile, your steady flame continues to burn, unwavering, visible to those who are seeking an example of what true resilience and integrity look like. You have become the point of reference, the model that others compare themselves against, whether they realize it or not. This is more than just a personal truth. It is a message to your community, to the chosen ones who are walking similar paths. Your journey, your endurance, and your integrity inspire, guide, and teach those around you. By embodying patience, by choosing not to respond in kind to negativity, and by staying steadfast in your principles, you cultivate a standard that others can aspire to. Your story, your strength, and your quiet victories become a blueprint for others to follow, creating a ripple effect of empowerment and clarity. You are the living example of how to turn trials into testimony, how to convert challenges into a foundation for influence, and how to transform endurance into a beacon of unshakable authority. And now, as you reflect on this journey, remember this: your influence is permanent because it is rooted in truth, not performance, in endurance, not spectacle, in substance, not borrowed admiration. Every lesson you've absorbed, every challenge you've navigated, every quiet triumph has contributed to a legacy that cannot be erased by the arrogance of others or the temporary whims of attention. Your life, your choices, and your example are a gift to those around you, a reminder that true power is silent, steady, and undeniable. So as we close this chapter together, take a deep breath and own your place as a chosen one. Stand tall in the truth of your endurance, the strength of your values, and the depth of your integrity. Know that what you have built within yourself is more lasting than any fleeting applause or shallow admiration. And if this message resonates with you, take a moment to like this video, share your experience in the comments, and subscribe to Chosen and Rising so that together we continue unlocking the latent power within all of us. Remember, you are a chosen one. Stand up, shine brightly, and influence the world around you. Your path is not defined by the noise of others, but by the integrity and endurance you carry within. The challenges, the mockery, the doubts, they were all part of your preparation. You have emerged stronger, wiser, and untouchable. Go forth knowing that your influence, your wisdom, and your quiet strength are your true crown. Thank you for being part of this journey. Stand proud, carry your light, and let your presence continue to inspire those who are still finding their way. Your story is not just about survival, it is a declaration of unshakable power and a testament to the chosen ones in all of us.